Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another Ainslie's Gold Silver Standard Insights. My name is Joe, and this is where we break down the morning's news posted on ainslieBullion.com.au. As always, we are joined by Chris Tipper. Hi, Chris.
G'day, Joe.
And joining us today, I'm very excited to have Cass Smith on the show. We're very excited to have her. It's a very important topic that we're talking about today, and Cass is the perfect one to talk to about it. Cass Smith has had over 30 years experience in all financial fields, including tax, business, shares, property, superannuation, and finance. She has a master's degree in, get this, taxation, a degree in accounting, advanced diploma in financial planning, diploma in finance, mortgage broking, diploma of real estate, and a diploma in property advice. She's currently an accountant, a mortgage broker, a real estate agent, property advisor, and a justice of the peace. She's an author and a contributor to magazines in relation to property and tax matters. And if you didn't think that list was amazing and long enough, here's my favorite part. Just wanted to add a little bit of a more of a personal thing to it. Cass is part of a world record, a Guinness World Record holding for the longest distance in a dragon boat within 24 hours. Now, I need to find out a little bit more about that, but let's, for the moment, let's pop over to sharing the morning's news. Now, this one is really, really important. I have been interested in this topic for quite a long time. Now, let me just share this right here, and then there we go. So here's today's topic, and it's one that I think a lot of you out there have been thinking about, and it's been getting a bit of news in the last 24, 48 hours. And the topic is, how safe is your super? And why look at getting a self-managed super fund? Chris, over to you.
Thanks, Joe. I don't know that much about dragon boats, and I also don't know that much about super, it appeared, after reading the news today. It certainly raised a lot of questions for me. I think that I probably, like most Australians, have been living under the perception that my super was very much a personal asset. I operate under the assumption that the more I can save now, the better off I'll be in retirement. So my individual hard work and sacrifice now will be rewarded then. Even the possibility that what I consider to be my very safe super could be redirected towards government objectives is quite a wake-up call for me. I suppose because accessing that money is off somewhere in the future, I, again, probably like most people, don't think enough about it today, and specifically the broader implications of things going on in the economy or with changes in government policy. They could really make a significant difference to what I end up with if I'm not paying attention. So, Cass, it's great to have you here with us on Insights today, and I'm really looking forward to getting to the bottom of some of these questions that were raised in today's news, both for myself and for others out there like me who maybe haven't been watching their super as closely as they should be. So let's dive straight in. I suppose there's really two angles I'd like to explore with you today, Cass. Firstly, I'd love to get your opinion on what was talked about in today's news. And then I'd like to dig into some of the specifics of a self-managed super fund, and particularly around how you go about including gold and silver in one. So to start off, what were your thoughts on the news and concerns raised about the potential for the government of the day to increase complexity around managing your own decisions and managing your own self-managed super fund? It does seem like an awfully appealing multi-trillion-dollar pot of money if you're the government under financial pressure, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chris, when I read your email that came out first thing this morning, I was very alarmed myself about the things that you're saying about the government may step in and take control of the super funds. In fact, I was also a candidate with United Australia Party, and part of the policy was going to be bring superannuation back to Australia instead of foreign investment, back to Australian investment. But the article you sent out this morning was even more alarming. It seems that the government might have their eye on the superannuation to help bail out their debt problem. That's very alarming. It's also not surprising. When I was in the tax department, we used to have a running joke that the politicians would get together every Friday and change the superannuation laws over a few drinks on Friday afternoon, because it literally seemed it changed every week. It's been quite stable for the last, say, 15 years that I've been involved. But even, for example, in the Labor's last election, the one that they lost, they had a very big policy of getting rid of franking credits, which complexity, but it really would have affected the wealthy Australians who have self-managed super funds. So they certainly do have superannuation in their sights every time they feel like changing the laws.
So it's something we, like you said, even you're in the industry and it's not necessarily front of face. We don't think about this all the time. So it's something we need to be paying a bit more attention to, I think, just generally.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I've been talking to a lot of people about I've been on other podcasts, really trying to get the message out there to people that superannuation is your money.
Yep.
You may not be able to access it for 10, 20, 30 years, but it's still your money. So you should pay some attention rather than just let it sit out there in cyberspace. I've spoken to a lot of people who don't even open their superannuation annual statement. They just throw them in the filing cabinet. That's not the way to go. It's really important, particularly in the current economic situation, to have a look at your super and decide proactively what you want to do with it.
Absolutely. And that, I suppose, leads to the second half of what I really want to dig into. So what people will be aware generally with what a self-managed super fund is, but can you maybe just give us the big picture, what it is for those who might not be overly familiar, but also what are some of the advantages? What can you invest in? That big picture stuff that we can get our heads around for people who maybe don't have that but might be considering it.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of people don't know what self-managed super funds are. They've been around for as long as I've been in the industry, which is 30 years, a very, very long time. Back in the beginning, they were very much the vehicle of the ultra elite, the wealthy that owned their own commercial premises, the doctors, the lawyers, the dentists. However, particularly after the GFC, when the share market crashed an enormous amount, 40 to 50%, people started looking at their super and saying, well, why has my superannuation halved by 50%? I didn't know my superannuation was in the share market. And there
were a lot. I remember a lot of retirees at that particular, just on that point, you had all those stories of retirees who lost everything in the GFC.
Yeah, it was devastating. And they had to go back to work. So there were 65-year-olds that were planning to retire that had to go back to work. The share market took over 10 years to recover. So people were really devastated by the GFC. So after the GFC, people started opening their eyes and thinking, are there other alternatives? And self-managed super funds have been the fastest growing segment of the superannuation industry of recent times. So more and more people are pulling their money out of the traditional industry and retail funds and putting it in self-managed super funds. And then what's happening with the economy now, we have been flooded. We have never had so many inquiries for people wanting their money out of the share market and into self-managed super funds.
So just sort of following up on that, what can you invest in there?
Yeah, so you can invest in anything that is a deemed a worthwhile investment, deemed by yourself as the trustee. Okay. So the tax office cannot rule, or the government cannot rule, what you can and can't invest in. They can only have some very broad rules that the investments must be for the sole purpose of your retirement. So when we say that, we are looking at good investments like gold, silver, property, commercial property, share market. A lot of self-managed super funds do invest in the share market. Some more ambiguous type investments are wine and artwork and things like that. There's regulations around that. But any investment that you as a trustee can say is a good investment, and I believe it's going to grow in value for my retirement.
Okay, so you can still be in the share market if you so wish, but you've got that control over it that you don't have if you're in a bigger fund, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. You get to choose what shares to invest in, or have a financial planner that can advise on what shares to invest in.
Sure. So how do we do that? Like, is it complex? I know people worry about there are websites around where you can click a button and sign up. Is it that simple? Is it give us a little bit of background on some of the risks, I suppose, or the complexity involved?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to come back to the online ones. If I forget, remind me, bring me back to it.
Sure.
But so self-managed super fund, I've been personally involved in being an accountant for self-managed super funds for over 20 years. And our motto is actually self-managed super fund made simple. So because we've been doing it for so long, we have a very streamlined process. Fill in an order form. We basically do the rest of it for you up until the time when your super is in a bank account that you control. It's actually really simple. The laws around SMSF are very complex, But as I say to all our clients, that's our job, to worry about the complexity. Your job is just to be aware of where your money is and to ask the professional accountant questions as you go to make sure you don't breach any of the rules.
So it can be a self-managed in the sense that you're in control of it, but you can still have someone else like your organization, for example, guiding you through the actual compliance aspect of that.
Exactly. So it's self-managed, and what the client needs to do to self-manage is decide on the investments and look after the investments. And then we as the accountants do everything else. So we do tax returns, financial statements, just everything that the tax office and ASIC require for you to be compliant. So, and it's very important to be compliant. There's really heavy penalties if you're not. I tell everyone you can't do it yourself in terms of the accounting. It's way too complex, but that's what you use the tax agents and accountants for, and that's what we do. Back to the online firms, when you talk about risk in SMSF, a lot of people ask me, well, what's the risk? Well, the risk is you get to decide the investments. So the risk is whatever you decide to invest in. If you invest in a good quality asset, then there's very little risk. If you go and invest in an online scam, well, then it's highly risky, but it's your choice. One thing about the online, there are companies that you can Google SMSF and they quote very cheap setup fees and you press a few buttons. The tax office is very concerned about SMSF setup for a very good reason. There have been some really big scams where there's been some foreign companies set up a website that looks very much like an Australian financial company to set up an SMSF. And then when the money's rolled over, the money's gone to that offshore company, never to be seen again.
Right. So, okay. So there's a bit to be watching.
There is a bit to be watching, and my answer to that is to deal with a company that you know has been around for a very long time. So our firm's been around 20 plus years. Obviously, we're here, we're legitimate. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here anymore. We've been taken down by ASIC by now.
So I suppose just because we'll run out of time, because I found this fascinating, I'll talk about this all day, but a question a lot of our viewers will have is specifically around gold and silver. So there are a few things around that. How you've said we can effectively invest in whatever we like, but does that mean you can get physical bullion and you can store it at home? I know there's audits and things involved in self-managed super. So can you talk us a little bit through gold and silver specifically and how a self-managed super fund can use them?
Yes, absolutely. And of all the super funds we're setting up at the moment, 95% of them are doing gold and silver. The whole idea of getting out of the financial system, out of, I guess, what we call the online system, where your super is just a number on an online screen somewhere. People want the money out of that into self-managed and then get the physical gold and silver. There is a lot of misconception out there. A lot of accountants will say that you can't hold the gold and silver physically, but we say you can, and all of our clients are, and our auditor is okay with it. So it's a matter of picking up the physical gold and silver from the dealer, store it in your own house in a very, very good safe, even a security system if you choose, and holding it yourself. That way you know it can't be just taken off you or lost or cancelled in a cyber attack, etc. The auditors don't come and check the gold and silver every year. That's another misconception. They simply want a photo of it to prove that you've still got it. All very simple, as I said, superannuation made simple.
Okay, and I do have one actual further follow-up question on that. So what about liquidity there? So if I am on a pension and I want to withdraw some of that and it's in precious metals, is that a relatively straightforward process as well? Yeah,
so you simply take it back to the gold dealer, cash in enough maybe to get you through the next 2 months, then draw down your pension. Okay. Then when it runs out, cash in a little bit more.
That is absolutely brilliant. This is a conversation that I've been wanting us to have for quite some time, and what a timely event it is that this particular bit of news about superannuation has come out. I don't know about you, but I've been in the bullion industry for a while, as you know, you have as well, Chris, and so many customers have come in over the last number of years who have self-managed super funds, who buy precious metals for their self-managed super for a couple of reasons. And some people believe, and I happen to be one of them, that super may not even exist by the time that I'm at retirement age, and certainly people younger than me as well, because it could either be inflated away if we go through some kind of hyperinflationary scenario, or for the fact, and this particular article mentions, they might just come after it in some other kind of way. So very timely, and thank you so much, Cass, for being on the show. Of course, if everyone wants to investigate further about self-managed super funds, you can, of course, head over to Cass's website. Now, that's holisticfinancialsolutions.com.au with a WH, holistic financial solution for financialsolutions.com.au, or just do, of course, your own Google searching for self-managed super funds within Australia and look at setting up one yourself. I certainly have one myself. I presume we all do in this little group here. It's something you really must consider if you want to protect the wealth that you currently have. And of course, as we always say here at Gold, Silver Standard and Ainslie Bullion, you want to balance your wealth within an unbalanced world. So consider buying some bullion, whether if that's for your self-managed super or not. Just consider purchasing some. And I would also consider, and I will share the screen one more time. We've got Cass's website, but also consider the goldsilverstandard.com as well. That is bringing gold and silver into the digital world. So that's the ultimate suite of fully backed digital assets. So it's digital assets backed one-to-one with real physical metal, which is redeemable for physical metal. So getting possibly the best of both worlds there as well. Cass Smith, thank you so much for joining us. We've had a fantastic and very insightful time with you here.
Thank you.
And
thank
Chris
you
is
for inviting me.
Not a problem. And as always, Chris, thank you. And we'll see you again next time. And as we always say, as we said, balance your wealth in an unbalanced world. Take care, and we'll speak to you soon.